Take the bait. Take the bait. Take the bait. Take the bait. Take the bait.
It's game day. It's not no regular Wednesday.
Welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Take the Bait, a sports talk show where two sports guys talk about topics past and present that many of us talk about, but now we have a platform to do so. Your host, Marcus Wilson, my co-host, Ben Shoulders. We always want to start off with a huge thank you for all of you who watch our shows, share it with others, anything to help us grow. We thank you for it. And we have another great episode ahead for you. 5 really good, interesting topics. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Our first one is more of a general question about somebody who I think he's ending the near of his career. He was tearing up in Cleveland. I think that kind of gave it away. LeBron James. What has been the biggest impact of his career? I'm interested to hear what you have to say on this, Ben. Let's go.
Sure. So LeBron has made a lot of impacts throughout his career, no denying it. But I think the biggest is probably his social and cultural voice. He's expanded, not started, but expanded expectations around athlete activism. His willingness to speak on education and on politics, his tangible initiatives like I Promise School has helped normalize athletes during their platform without deferring to sticking to sports pressure. He's shown that superstardom and civic engagement, Marcus, are not mutually exclusive. The bottom line is, I think that his impact, in a nutshell, is systematic. He transformed the NBA star from elite player into long-term institution on the court, in business, and in culture. So simply, it's systematic. That's what I think.
Man, that you used a lot of big words, and I'm impressed. But I completely agree with everything you just said. I feel like it's twofold. Number one, his cultural and social activism. And what I love about it is he didn't always get it right. Like, not everything he spoke up on, I agreed with him.
Yeah.
I remember the issue in China, how he said what he said, kind of supported China over Hong Kong, and it didn't turn out well. But you're right. What he did was he showed people and other athletes that it's okay to do this. Because when he really started speaking out on stuff, I don't know if you guys remember, but it was really around the shut up and dribble era. It was people were telling the athletes, just shut up and dribble, right? And then he spoke up and he took a lot of heat and he just kept speaking up. And I think it just opened up the door. He was such a leader in that space. And we had lacked that for some years because we were going through, and we're still, I don't think we're in it right now as much, but we're easing out of the cancel culture. And so athletes were afraid to speak up. Just prior to his generation, you think about the athletes, Muhammad Ali, Bill Russell, Jim Brown. You know what I'm saying? These guys were going through it. Jackie Robinson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. They were speaking up, and they were speaking up on huge major issues. And then we went about 20 years where everyone was afraid to speak up. And so I'm so grateful to LeBron for that, because athletes do have power in their voice, and he opened up the way for that. I think the second part on the court is not even just his stats. Everybody talks about how well LeBron James takes care of his body, his longevity. He's now allowed people to see, I can play this game for 20 years if I'm willing to invest some of this money I make. I mean, people say, like, I'm sure you've heard the story that he invests $1 million a year back into his body through dietitians and through stretching and, just rehab programs just to keep his body healthy. And so some of these dudes are making 20, 30, 40, 50, even 60, 70 million nowadays. It just seems logical that you would spend 1 million of that to make sure you're eating right, you're stretching right, you're getting in your hot and cold tubs, and you're doing all the things to keep your body healthy. It's unheard of what he's done. Only him and Vince Carter have really went this long. Yeah. No one's done it at the level that he's done it. So I think his cultural and social impact and his willingness to speak up, and I give him kudos to that, because I would have loved for Michael Jordan to speak up on some things in the 90s and 2000s. Would have loved it. But that wasn't what he did. And LeBron changed. And this is longevity. Both of those things will change the landscape of sports for the next 50 years. So Big props to LeBron for that. I'm not always the biggest LeBron fan. I'm not a hater. I'm just some people
Right,
love him, they
right.
love him, they don't. I'm just kind of neutral. But in this aspect, I'm a fan, man. I love what he's done for the sport and for the game.
Yeah, I agree.
On to topic number two. This is something personal to me because I love helping children. I feel like when you get an opportunity to help children, that you should. And I just want to talk to you about Allen Iverson apparently going to Australia and having some type of bookings to where he was supposed to go to a hospital and see some sick kids, and he stood that up. What do you know about this? What do you think about it?
Yeah. So, and there's been some former and current players even speak to this as well. I don't know the whole facts because now Iverson's camp has recently, in the last 24 hours, come out and said, no, that's not what happened. Here's what really happened. So I don't want to jump to conclusions, Marcus. I don't want to think, but if this is true, and let me preface it by saying, if this is true, very disappointing, very selfish, very rude. And again, if it's true, um, from what I understand, there were 12 kids with cancer in Australia that idolized Allen Iverson. He was their favorite player. And he went over there. And the story that I first read about was that they were supposed to interact with him, get anything signed they wanted, talk with him, do all this stuff. He was like an hour or two late. Then when he went into the room, they were going to meet him in. He didn't allow parents. And then he just got a picture with them and left. That's the first story I read. Then again, in the last 24 hours, his camp has come out and said that's not what happened. The only part of that's true is that we didn't allow parents because the room was so small. But everything else about that is not true. I don't know what to believe, but if that is true, that is very disappointing to hear. Very, very, very. That's what I have to say.
You know what would dispel the rumors? Post some pics. Post some pics.
Yep.
If you spent time with the kids, I guarantee someone took some pictures. And I'm sure your PR person did. And I'm sure the hospital did. If you got more than just one group photo, it would shut us all up. So I'm leaning towards if he allegedly did it, that he did it. People don't get this mad if you come and you put smiles on kids' faces.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of people speaking out about this.
And to add to that, not only provide pictures, but come out yourself with a statement. I have not seen Allen Iverson speak to this. I've seen people from his camp talk about it, but I've not seen Allen Iverson come out either in an interview or even a statement, just a written statement. I haven't seen anything from him yet. Now, maybe he still will. It's only been a week. It's not even been a week since this happened. But he needs to come out and say something and provide some pictures before, because you said,
I understand. We're trying to tiptoe it and not accuse someone before they're convicted guilty. There's enough smoke here to show me that there's fire. Now, if he comes out with pictures,
yeah,
I'll definitely retract this on the next episode and say, I'm sorry. I'm not sure why you took so long to defend yourself. But I just want to say this. Kids, they look up to us. They really push the markets that you can make them, that the athletes can make the money that they want to make. The kids want to go to the games, they want to buy the jerseys, the parents do it, they take them to the games. And to not give back to the people that helped get you to the position that you're at. And on top of that, some sick kids. Listen, I'm gonna tell you a story, and I didn't even plan on telling you this, but every year well, not I wouldn't say every year, but there were a few years when I was playing overseas, I was making decent money. And I always tried to do something to help the local kids in the community. So when I was in France, I sponsored a wing of the hospital where there were kids in the burn unit. And I asked the nurses, like, hey, which ones don't have parents or which ones have parents who are poor? And we did that one year. Another year, I did it in Turkey. I only say this to say, I have pictures of the kids in Turkey. I've never posted it because they were cancer patients and I wasn't doing it for any notoriety. This is the first time I've ever been told this story publicly. But what I will say is I remember there was once a kid who they said there were like 8 kids who were there whose parents this was kind of like a Ronald McDonald's or St. Jude's where the kids parents send their kids there because they can't afford to take care of them. And so and there were like 8 or 9 kids. They were like, hey, just meet these 8. This ninth one right here it's probably best you don't even meet her, because she's probably not going to make it another week, and it's just better for you not to meet her. I was like, no, 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 I really want to, especially if she's only got a week. I want to put a smile on her face. So I go there, I bring all these gifts and toys and all that, and spend some time. And I was coming back like sometimes every week, or if we had games, I come every other week. So 2 weeks I come back, and the kid is still there. And they're like, man, like after your visit, like she just perked up. And then she had something to look forward to with you coming back, because she wasn't getting any visitors, because obviously her family
Mhm.
couldn't come. And so her health was deteriorating that way. That girl lived the entire season that I was there. That wasn't me. That was just, I gave the child something to look forward to. And I'm little ass Marcus Wilson, who, let's be honest, there's nobody in Turkey who knows my name right now. If I was able to do that, imagine what Allen Iverson could do. Imagine what LeBron
Right.
James, Steph Curry, and Michael
Right.
Jordan, all these guys could do. I mean, real superstars. I was just a little local guy for a year in an overseas league. A real superstar could impact these kids' lives in ways that I never could even imagine. And I still love that story that I was able to
Yeah.
help do. But it was something small. And it was just me. And so, like, when I heard about Allen Iverson doing this, I was just like, this is the type of stuff that makes me not like people.
I,
Period. Like I won't. I'm not going to say
yeah.
I don't like Allen Iverson, because he had always been one of my favorite players. But if this is true, and we just talked about cancel culture, I'll never support anything from him again. I mean, ever. I won't listen to an interview. I won't. Never, because I don't believe in doing stuff that hurts kids. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, no, I second that, Marcus, and I think that's a wonderful story. I didn't know that story. You never shared
No one
that
knows
story with
that
me.
story.
But
Yeah.
I'll end this topic with this. Why would just think about this? Why would both the organizer of the event and two of the parents of the kids make this up? You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. For those folks that are defending Iverson, why would they embellish or make this up?
Right.
That's why there has to be some truth to this story. It just has to be. So I'll leave you with that.
I agree with that. I hope it's not true. I want to like Allen Iverson. If I find out that it's not, if I find out that it's true, I'm pretty much done with dude. Because for someone, and I've said this, if for him to do that at age 22, I'd be like, man, that's messed up. His PR people and some of these other people should have checked him. For him to do that at this age,
Yeah.
it would be inexcusable, because you know better. So that's that.
Right.
On the topic
Right.
number three, another kind of like not specific on the court or on the field sports subject, but Mr. Bill Belichick. This whole thing with him not getting into the Hall of Fame on the first ballot. What do you think about that, Ben? I mean, you have, I know you probably have the stats of how many Super Bowls he's won and all that stuff, but like it just something doesn't seem right. What's your take on it?
Look, I think, Marcus, this is a travesty. I think it loses all credibility, not just some. I think it loses all credibility with the NFL Hall of Fame. The man won 6 Super Bowls. He went to 9. He won. Here's the kicker. So they want to penalize him, or certain folks want to penalize him on the Spygate thing. The Spygate happened in 2007. Okay. He won numerous Super Bowls after Spygate. Okay. He went to numerous Super Bowls after Spygate. So, if it was a thing where, okay, Spygate happens and then he just never made the playoffs again, you could maybe make the case, maybe. But I think this is a joke. It's a travesty. It's really bad. And for those that support this move, I simply ask you this. Will you do the same to Tom Brady when he comes up very soon, since he was the quarterback of the Patriots during Spygate? Because you can't play, you have to penalize him too. If you're going to do this, you got to penalize the quarterback as well. That's what I think. I think it's really a travesty, Marcus. I really think it's bad. It's a bad look.
I totally agree. I think it takes away the credibility. It'd be almost like in the NCAA tournament or for college football playoffs, them just putting some random team in there, like just ruining the credibility of the whole voting.
Mhm.
Um, and I
Yeah.
understand they're trying to punish him for Spygate and Deflategate and all that other good stuff, but that's just a slippery slope. Okay, so if someone's taking performance enhancing drugs, that's one thing. You can punish them for that. But some of this other stuff, like,
Right.
okay, Spygate, deflategate. So like right now, when Dabo Sweeney just called out some coaches for tampering. So when we know that these college coaches are calling kids who are under contract in NIL, on NIL and saying, I'll pay you $1 million to get out that
Hmm.
contract and come here. Isn't that cheating? I think it is. So like when are we going
Yeah.
to stop? Like you just can't punish him. He was trying to gain a competitive advantage, probably went on the other side of what was fair and what was right. But to think that this dude isn't a first ballot Hall of Famer, it makes me question the Hall of Fame. It makes me question what's the criteria? What is the
Yeah.
criteria? And now the
Right.
people who are in the Hall of Fame, and then now the people who are upcoming, everything's tainted because now we don't respect the voting process. And that's the sad part about this is like people who deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Now I'm like, well,
Yeah.
you win just because the voters liked you? Because obviously the voters are allowing their personal feelings to come in this because they're not punishing other people for some of the same similar things. So I just think it's a really bad look, and I hate it.
I agree.
Yeah. All right, on to on the court topic. There's some really good college basketball being played this year. There are two undefeated teams remaining: Arizona Wildcats and the Miami, Ohio Redhawks. Can either one of these teams finish the regular season undefeated? What do you think?
Well, we'll throw this graphic up right here. They're both 22-0 right now. As we stand right now, they're both 22-0. Both won over the weekend, and they both have about 9 games left in the regular season. I think, Marcus, that one does and one does not. And I'll tell you who. Miami of Ohio, I think, will finish the regular season undefeated. I do. I think that they, and no disrespect to Miami of Ohio, I'm not disrespecting them. But, let's face it, they don't play in a conference that's what's one of the big four, big five. I think they're that much better than the teams in their conference. And I think what you're going to see is, and I hate to say this to you Miami of Ohio fans, what's going to happen is it's going to be similar to the 2014 Wichita State team. Wichita State went 35-0. Okay, they were 35-0, got a number 1 seed that year, and lost the second round to Kentucky. I believe that was 78-76. Lost by 2 points. They played them tight, but they lost in the second round.
Great
Yeah,
game.
great game. So I think to answer the question, Miami of Ohio does finish the regular season undefeated, and then they will lose, or maybe even win their conference tournament, but they will lose early in the NCAA tournament. As far as Arizona, people forget this. I want to throw this graphic up right here. In 2014, Arizona was 21-0, number 1 in the nation. And on February 1st, Brandon Ashley suffered a season-ending injury. They lost at California. They ended up going to the Elite Eight, but they were never the same. And a lot of people thought they would have won it all had Ashley not gone down. My point to that is this. They got to stay healthy. Both teams do. Injury, as you know, Marcus, you got to stay injury-free because if you don't, that can mess the whole team up, chemistry-wise, personnel-wise, everything. So number one, staying healthy. But also this is more important, or as equally important. Their 9 remaining games, regular season, might be the toughest schedule in the country. Here's who they have remaining in the regular season, okay? Home versus Oklahoma State, at Kansas, home against Texas Tech, home against BYU, at Houston, at Baylor, home against Kansas again, home against Iowa State, and then home against Colorado. 6 of their 9 remaining games are against top 15 teams. 6. And 2 are Kansas. 6 of their 9 remaining games are top 15 teams. So I think they will lose one of those. I do. I think they'll get upset by one of those. But I'll say this, Marcus. If they finish 31-0 in the regular season, no one will dispute that they're the number 1 best team in the country going into the tournament. Nobody. Because with that schedule, the rest of the month and early March, no way that anybody will vote against them for number 1 if they can run out, finish out this season undefeated. So I think Arizona loses one of those. I think Miami of Ohio wins the rest of their games.
That's a good hot take. I mean, that's a really hot take. I like it. I didn't know that you were going to tell us who was going to get undefeated, who was going to go undefeated, and who wasn't. But considering I disagree, I'll go ahead and change my screen up on you. So
Okay.
Arizona, I
Okay.
agree, will lose. And I think that there's no question right now they're the number one team in the country. I mean, early on they beat Florida when Florida was number three. They beat UConn. I mean, they have incredible victories already. But you're right, man. The Big 12 is equivalent, similar to the SEC last year. They're the best conference in the country. I mean, I think, obviously Arizona is the best team. Iowa State is a national championship contender. I don't think Houston is a national championship contender. I do think they're a top 8 to 10 team, but they're probably Elite Eight,
Yeah.
16. And then I think Texas Tech, BYU, and Kansas are all Sweet 16 level teams. And so the Big 12 is really strong. I don't think the Arizona will go undefeated. However, they probably are my favorites to win it all. Now that I've seen that Purdue's been struggling, Florida's starting to get better. UConn is looking good, but they already beat UConn, and they are my favorites, but I don't think they'll go undefeated. I also don't think that Miami of Ohio will go undefeated. But what they are doing is unbelievable. I was looking at their stats yesterday as I was doing some research on this, and like they're shooting 40% from three as a team, and they
Yeah.
shoot a lot of threes. I want to say the last team that shot that well was that Baylor team a couple years back that beat Gonzaga.
Mhm.
They shot like 40%. And when you're shooting 40% from three as a team, it's so hard to beat. I think they have 6 guys shooting over 38%.
Yeah, they
Most
do.
teams don't even have a 38% three-point shooter. They're like a 35 to 33% shooting team, and their best shooters around 37, 38. Everybody else is around 33. To have 7 guys like that is unreal. But that Wichita State team had 3 pros. 2 played, one, I don't know what happened to him, but Van Fleet was an all-star. Ron Baker played in the NBA, I mean, in the NBA for several years. And Cle Anthony Early was really good. I don't know how he didn't make the NBA, but he was a 6'9" small forward. He killed Kentucky that game. I think he scored like 12 straight points in the
Yeah.
second play. They had 3 pros. I don't think that Miami of Ohio has 3 NBA players. They're being coached really well. They have great spacing and they have a lot of good shooters, and they're chopping up a conference that isn't a very strong conference this year, right? It's a
Right.
one bid league. So I just think that although they are a really good shooting team, when it comes down to a game where multiple people are off, can they score enough points? Can they get enough stops? I think that there will be a game sometime in the regular season or in the conference tournament where another team just comes up with a great scout and really slows them down offensively. And I don't know how they're going to respond to that. And so I'm going to bet that that will happen. They're not going to respond well. It will help them in the tournament because they'll fix it. And the next time they run up into that situation in the tournament, they'll be more prepared. But I almost think a loss for them would help. It would take some of that stress off their shoulders because now it's like a monkey on their back, like, oh man, let's not lose, let's not lose, let's not lose. And to go
Yeah.
undefeated isn't the goal. It's to win the championship. And so
Right.
if going undefeated starts to put too much pressure on you on your way to the championship, it might be better to lose that one. Then they can just play, fix the little stuff that maybe have been creeping up on them that they couldn't fix while winning. And I think it will translate into a good NCAA tournament run when they shoot that well. I'm hoping they go to the Sweet 16.
Okay.
And our last topic today, getting outside the box. Let's give the people a Winter Olympics preview. I believe it starts February 6th, if I'm not
Right. Yeah.
okay.
Friday.
So,
Friday night.
Winter Olympics is coming up. Anytime this is Olympics, it's a big deal. I know you guys probably don't think that we were going to discuss the Winter Olympics, but hey, we're some sports guys around here. We say we love sports. When we say we love sports,
Yeah.
we might even be talking about cricket coming up here in the next couple of days, or a couple of weeks. But anyway, Winter Olympics preview. What do you got for us, Ben?
Yeah, it starts this Friday night, February 6th, opening ceremonies. It goes till February 22nd in Italy, most of which is in Milan. There are a few new events, Marcus, that I want to highlight or at least mention. Women's large hill ski jumping, mixed team skeleton, women's double luge, dual moguls, and alpine team combined. All new events for this year in Olympics. The 2 things I'm looking forward to the most. 2 things. Number 1, ice hockey, women's tournaments, 10 teams, and the men's tournament has NHL players in it returning after a long absence. And also, Lindsey Vonn, the skiing legend, attempting a remarkable comeback for her 5th Olympics at age 41. Her participation is uncertain because of an injury, but let's hope she does do it because, again, if she does, it'd be her 5th Olympics at age 41. So hockey and Lindsey Vonn are the two things I'm looking forward to the most. But it's going to be a great Winter Olympics, Marcus, a great Winter Olympics.
So I'm not going to sit here and act like I know about all the events. I do tune in. I love watching greatness.
Right.
So anytime there's, like, I'm not even a huge hockey fan, but when it's the Stanley Cup, like, I watch. I love watching greatness. And so I'm going to watch the Winter Olympics. The 3 things that I'm most looking forward to is the curling. That always fascinates me, where they're like cleaning the ice.
Yeah.
The curling. Snowboarding, number 1, it's really cool to see some of the tricks they do. Number 2 is most of the snowboarders are pretty easy on the eye. Now, granted, it's not volleyball where they're just in like little skimpy stuff, but snowboarding, trust me, you might want to tune in.
Right.
It's an interesting sport, and it's not gonna bother you to look at them while they're doing it. So I'm watching that, and then of course ice hockey. I want to see how the NHL players come back. I want to see, like, it's elite. It's not just amateurs. And so those will be the 3 that I'm specifically tuning in for. But if I catch a couple other ones and I see something good, we might have to, circle back and talk about those as well. But make sure you guys tune in, support the Olympics, specifically support our American athletes.
Absolutely. It's going to be a great one. Going to be great.
Will be a great one. That does it, ladies and gentlemen, for another episode of Take the Bait. Thank you so much again.
No, thank you, bro.
Thank you.
No, thank you, bro.
We love coming here and giving you guys the topics. Please continue to give us more topics. So again, we're discussing what you want, not what we want. And we're going to keep giving you the content that you want. Ben, do you have anything to close us off?
Thank you again for watching Take the Bait. We want to hear from you.
Wow.
Take the bait. Take the bait. Take the bait. Take the bait. Take the bait.
Get off your phone and get in the zone. Put down the sticks, leave the studio alone. I got my squad with me and we ready. If you got your squad with you, get ready. Take the bait.
Take the bait.
Take the bait.
Take the bait.
Take the bait. Take me get that. Take me get that. Take the bait. Take me get that. Take me get that.